Welcome to my yoga studio. For our practice today, we need a sticky mat, 2 blocks, 1 belt, 3 blankets, and a bolster. Good evening. Are you ready for some more yoga? We're going to do an evening practice, which is to relax you and get you ready to rest after a busy day. The very first thing is we're going to start out in Dandasana, which is a seated pose. We're going to do mostly seated poses. And I like to show you how to fold a blanket because we're going to need blankets for this. When I have a big blanket like this would be a 2-fold. Then I fold it one more time. This will be a 3-fold and a 4-fold. And so I'm going to fold it a 5th time like this, and I'm going to use this behind me. And I want you to use a blanket too, because it's important that we sit on a blanket and then slide forward so we have our pelvic floor in the right direction. Plus it will help you with your back support. Slide, almost like you're falling off the blanket, forward on the blanket, and sit on that folded edge. That makes a better edge. We're going to keep our legs completely straight. The ankles are touching, and so are the inner knees. See if you can get those inner knees to touch and the ankles to touch. And then we're going to straighten these legs by pressing our calves into the floor and also our thighs. So press these down as much as you can. At the same time, lengthen and spread the toes. Now we're going to come to our torso. Remember that spine wants to be supported with its natural curves. Try to lift yourself off the floor just a little bit to take all the pressure off of your spine. And then you're going to sit back down very softly and gently, stacking every vertebra on top of the next, until you come to your neck. And again, your head wants to be attracted to the ceiling, and you're really strong. And now you're going to place your hands next to you, and you're going to sit up very straight, pressing yourselves up with the arms. So press up and just take a couple inhalations. Remember the legs, they need to press into the ground. Your hands are pressing into the ground, and your arms are perfectly straight. That is Dandasana, and we're just going to take a couple of breaths. Inhale, open the chest towards the ceiling. Exhaling, strengthening those legs, really feeling them. Again, always breathe through your nose. Last one. Wonderful. Now the next seated position is going to be Sukhasana. And Sukhasana will need another blanket. I'm just taking these, and this is my 5th fold, bringing it behind me. Going to just sit on top of it a little bit more, and I'm going to take my right leg, cross it, and bring it forward in line with my sticky mat. Then the left leg goes underneath. And what I'm looking for is to have my feet about the same distance as my knees. And that's why we're sitting up higher now. Now, if this is not possible for you, let's say you have knee pain, or your knees are just not comfortable, or you're not able to sit in this position, I can show you another trick. This one is cool. What you do is you take this 3rd blanket, make a tight roll. Start from that folded side, making a nice tight roll, because we're going to stay here for just a couple of breaths. Now you're going to lift your legs. You're going to push that roll right through your legs against the other blanket and see what happens now. Now this should be pretty comfortable. So you're able to stay here, hopefully. The knees are not really taking a lot of pressure, so this should work. I'm not going to use the blanket because I don't need it, but it makes you feel so much better with that additional support. I'm just going to keep my 2 blankets and my knees lower. What I'm looking for is to make sure that my hip is higher than my knees. If you're not higher, use your bolster, sit right on the bolster. If you need to, put blankets on top of the bolster and get yourself really propped up. That's what this yoga is all about. We have wonderful props to make you feel like you should be feeling in a pose. Sukhasana, same thing. We want to have a really supported spine again, just like in Dandasana. Your legs are crossed. Now this is a good workout for your legs. And we're going to make sure that your back is straight again by pressing up. Press yourself up of these supports. You might need to press from the blankets up. I'm just going to do it from here, from the floor, and I'm going to stack my spine again to make sure I have a really straight spine. Now, the awareness about the straight spine here is sometimes a little difficult to grasp. So I want to show you a few tricks. First of all, lean forward. Now you're definitely too much forward, right? So then lean backwards until you feel like, oh yeah, that's definitely too far back. Then come and try to find the center just by going back and forth until you've got it. Then close your eyes and remember this. This is the position I want to be in. That's a straight spine. Another trick. You start circling your head like a snail from a small point to a bigger point and feeling the hip. Feel the front of the hip, the side of the hip, and the tailbone. And you circle, and now you draw your circle smaller and smaller until you end up in the perfect spot. And you can do this with your eyes closed. Now, I think I am perfect. Now I'm going to do it the other way, just to make sure. I'm going to form the big circle, so I notice the front of my hip, the side, the tailbone, right side. And now I'm going to make the circle smaller and smaller until I think, yep, I got it right here. This is now perfectly straight. It's a small awareness, but it is an important one. The arms just go here. I want you to sit here, take 3 breaths. Enjoy this. This is evening yoga. It's not going to be very physical. Just one pose. Keep breathing. And now we're going to unfold the legs. We're going to fold them to the other side. Left one comes underneath the right one. And the right one comes underneath the left knee. Again, make sure that they're about even right here. And this time you're going to bring the arms up with the breathing. We're going to bring them up completely straight. And we're going to grow the pose. We're going to breathe. On the exhalation, draw those shoulder blades back. On this exhalation, think maximum amount of space between the ears and the shoulder. Last one. And come back. Now, if you're very flexible, of course, you can interlace and do this whole series again. If you enjoyed this workout, so you just inhale, stretch the arms. Exhale. Bring the shoulder blades down. Grow the pose as tall as you can possibly make it on your last inhalation. And let go. Great. Of course, you do the other variation, interlacing the other way again. But we've already done 2 of them, so we're all set. Now I like to show you Virasana. We're going to sit in Virasana. And again, we have props to do this. I'm going to just get rid of these blankets, and I'm going to do it with a block. So I'm coming onto my knees. Do you know what? It's actually nice to do it on one blanket so we have softness. So I'm going to go onto this blanket, make it nice and soft under my knees. If you do happen to have knee pain, I would not recommend this. What you're doing is you're standing on your knees. That's why we have some softness here. Take this block and sit on the block. Right here. This should be comfortable for you. If this is not comfortable, we have a bolster. Just use the bolster and sit on the bolster. I'll show you which way. Instead of the block, I'm just going to take that bolster lengthwise and sit on the bolster. That will bring me up much higher. It's easier on the knees, but I'm going to do it on the block. Virasana is hero pose. And your legs are tucked in on the side and they're very straight. That might be uncomfortable depending on how often you really straighten those ankles. If that is a problem for you, you can again roll up the blanket and place it underneath this way. You should have your knees apart so you can put your fist in right here. That's about the right width. And from here, let's do some shoulder work, especially if you've been sitting on a computer all day. This is going to be wonderful. You're going to inhale, bring the arms together. Now try to bring the elbows together. And you have your hands open, just like reading a book. And we're going to do this with 3 breaths again. On the inhalation, think elbows squeezing together and up. And on the exhalation, think shoulders down. So again, you want to inhale, bring them up even a little higher. Now these are small moves, remember, very small moves. Last one, inhale up and exhale. And shake it out. We're going to do it one more time. Bring the arms together, elbows are squeezing as tight as you possibly can. Open that book, your hands, and draw them up. With the inhalation, you're coming up and away from your face. On the exhalation, push your shoulders down. 3 breaths, shoulders down. Last one, and shoulders down. Now I want to show you one more. If this is not comfortable for your ankles, you can also take one of these blankets and roll it up just as I did and place them underneath your ankles right here. That will be more comfortable. But I don't need it, so I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to need a belt. We're going to do some more shoulder work. Remember, your distance is about a fist right here. And for this shoulder work, you're going to hold on to the edge of the belt. Bring it behind you, so raise that arm. And the trick here is to bring that elbow behind your ear as much as it wants to go for today. So that's the trick. Then you're going to drop that hand behind your head. And you're going to take your left hand and arm and swing it around and hold on to the belt. This is bringing your shoulder blades together. And we're going to do this with the breath. On the inhalation, think high elbow. And on the exhalation, you're going to walk that hand up the belt to meet the other hand. So I don't need the belt. I can actually touch my hands behind my back. So I'm just going to work it this way. But please use the props. That's what they're here for. You're going to inhale. Exhaling, thinking about drawing that left arm closer on your back to the right hand. And again. Full inhalations, make that chest really big and walk that left hand even closer to the right one. Last one. Now you probably feel something in your shoulder blades, and that's good. That's what we need to feel. It's opening your chest and the shoulder blades. We're going to switch sides, bring the left arm up, drop it behind your head, and then grab that belt with the right hand. Wherever you are for today, that's fine. Just work it with the breath. We're going to do 3 inhalations again. Big chest. Come a little closer with that lower arm, that walking it up on the belt. And again, see if you can come closer. Last inhalation. And see if you can touch. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. This is for our shoulder work. And now I like to show you Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's also called dog pose. So for this one, We're going to get rid of the blocks and the belt. And you can keep this blanket here in the middle because eventually we're going to need it to place our knees onto it. There's a little bit for the setup. I want you to pay attention to your hands. A lot of people complain about dog pose. They're saying, oh, it hurts your wrists and it's just not comfortable, but it's because no one has really showed them the proper setup. What you want to do is you want to have your thumb in line with the horizontal lines of the sticky mat. Your middle finger needs to be in line with the vertical lines in the sticky mat. In the meantime, you're going to spread these fingers for as much as you possibly can. Now, when you look at them, they probably turn white. That's good. That's good. That's exactly what you need to do. Because dog pose is not really done on the wrist. It's done on the metatarsals. Remember, the metatarsals are the little pads right here. So we're going to spread them as much as we can. You're going to have your hands forward of your shoulders, and you're going to walk your knees a little further back. You're going to roll the toes under. Sit back as much as you can, really trying to sit back, looking down, and then push your hip as high as you possibly can up to the sky. Now you probably are on your toes, which is good. And when we're going to bring these heels down, you're just doing it by pushing even further into the sticky mat and try to ground the heels. Now they're probably not going to go down. They're probably going to stay up at some point, but that's okay. We're going to stay here and push as much as we can. Head drops and the heels want to go to the ground. But it takes a lot of opening, so come back and just rest. You can rest in child pose anytime, which is like this. We're going to do it one more time now with variations. Again, make sure that the pressure is on your thumbs and on your index finger, the pressure. But the lineup is the middle finger on the lines and the thumb. Fold those legs under, fold the toes under, lean back, push up as high as you can. Exhale, try to bring the heels down, and now on the inhalation, lift. We're still pushing, 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 and we're lifting, and we're not really opening the hip. We're just going to keep it the same and stretching the leg back. Stretch the heel back as much as you can. Take another inhalation. Bring that leg down and switch. Bring the other one up. So this is really stretching your calves and your hamstring again, which is so good for us. Now come back down, and you can rest if you like, but I like to show you this. You can take your toe, the big toe and the second toe, and help that foot come down. This is really cool. We're actually engineered that way, that we can use our toes over the heel and just push down. You can do it on the other side. You might not be able to come down with both sides, especially if you ever twisted your ankle or have scar tissue in there. It's pretty tough, but try to bring that heel down as much as you can. And here we're going to go and relax one more time. We're just relaxing until we catch our breath. If you're out of breath, remember to always breathe through your nose, and you always want to come back and center your breath. I'm going to continue with Anjaneyasana, which is variations again in dog pose. Leaning back, folding in my toes, reaching up, coming back down. And now we take an inhalation, high hip, and walk that leg in between our hands. Now, let me just tell you, this might not happen for you. So the other way of getting into it, of course, would just be kneeling. Take your foot and your hands, and here you are. And in order to make it even easier, we can use blocks. So we can come up on our blocks. And we're going to walk that foot forward just a little bit, and now make sure that that kneecap is happy. What you want to do is you want to start and then stretch it forward. So you're in the front of the kneecap. And then you're just going to lower that hip. Now that hip is getting a lot of attention. This is a hip stretch. The adductors again are stretching. The outer hip is stretching. Our arms are pretty straight here. Make sure your chest is still up. Taking deep breaths. The other line that you need to pay attention to is to make sure that the knee is in front of the toes. We could just taking, again, 3 breaths. Now this is intense. You can, of course, take that action a little bit out of your hip, but I encourage you to really go for it. If you are sore the next day, you've worked too hard. You don't want to be sore. So from here, we're going to switch. I'm going to bring that leg back. Bring the other one forward. If you've taken a lot of yoga, then you will know how to switch right from dog pose. But we're going to do it the easier way. I'm going to draw my foot forward, my leg, so that I'm in the front of my kneecap and making sure this knee is aligned with the toes. Looking forward, breathing, staying for at least 3 breaths. Don't give away your line up here. And you're going to come back. And the other thing we're going to do next is we're going to come up and we're going to lift that back leg. We're stretching again by pushing the heel on our left leg back, and we're keeping that knee perfectly over the toes and stretching that thigh. The quadricep is now really talking to you. Make sure you still have your chest forward, breathing. And then we switch again. You can switch like that if you like, or you can take another step. That's up to you. We have lots of variations. Again, press that heel back, keeping your left knee in line with the toes. 3 breaths. And then from here, you're going to straighten that leg. So straighten for as much as is possible today. You can actually bring these closer to the ground if you like. It is not so important to have a straight leg as it is to have your lower ribs supported on your thigh. This is really what protects your back. This is more important than keeping a straight leg. So don't be goal-oriented. I know we're competitive, but that's not what about yoga. Yoga is not a competitive sport. I'm maybe stretching a little bit more here, but I've done this for a long time, so I'm pushing forward with my blocks. That's really the trick. The trick here is to push forward so you can raise the toes and push the heel back. And see for how straight the leg can go for today. Again, you stay here for about 3 to 5 breaths. And we're going to switch legs again and do the other side. Lift, push the blocks, lift the toes, and also press that left heel down as much as you can. Two more inhalations. Trying to keep those lower ribs on the chest. Lower ribs go on the thigh. Last inhalation. And we're going to bring that leg back and switch and go into chaturanga. We're not going to do the full crocodile today, but the beginning of it. So we won't need a blanket. I'm just going to bring this here. And chaturanga. Remember dog pose. Okay. Adho Mukha Svanasana, which is dog pose, was with the hands lined up like this and our knees back and rolling over. Well, chaturanga actually comes from dog pose. So when we were up here, from here, we're just going to take an inhalation and come forward And now this is also the perfect length for you. So when you're wondering about how far the knees need to be back or the feet, that's your perfect distance. This is how you measure. Your hands are underneath the shoulders and your heels are pressing back and your back is completely straight. Chaturanga, this is an upper body strengthener, especially good for women because we tend to store our stress in our shoulders. The other thing that I want you to notice is I'm not leaning down like this, I'm coming up, and that's how we work the breath. On the inhalation, we think really strong shoulders, and on the exhalation, think heels back. So let's do 2 more. We inhale, really push off the floor. Exhale, the heels come back. Last one. Inhale, keep that hip high. And come back down. We're going to do it 1 more time. Just take a breather. The important thing is to have a very straight back, one even line from your feet to your shoulders. Making sure that you're not sinking in the hip or in the shoulders. Again, I'm folding those toes under, leaning far back. That's your distance, as far as you can. Coming into dog pose. And from here, with the exhalation into Chaturanga. Now, the reason you can stay here for a while is by pushing forward. What I'm doing is I'm creating actual tension between my hands and my feet. That lets me stay here for a lot longer. Plus, I'm stacked completely straight between my hands and my shoulders. So again, inhale, strong, look down. Exhale, heels back. Inhale, even stronger. Exhale, heels back. Last one. Inhale, feet come back, and we're coming down. And now I would like to show you Ujjayi breathing. We need the bolster and a blanket for your head right here. And we're going to sit in front of the bolster with our legs straight. Now, make sure that bolster is right in your back, and we're going to lie back. The blanket is coming right to your neck here. And the other thing I like you to do is bend the legs first and bring that sacrum towards the heels so your lower back will be happy. Now, Ujjayi breathing. One more thing, if you like to be very comfortable with your arms, you can take 2 folded blankets here, or you can take 2 blocks. Especially if you're into sports and you're very right-handed, you might not know what perfectly straight is. So having 2 supports, like blocks underneath your forearms, that would make sure that you're completely even. But I'm keeping my arms on the floor because I know I'm perfectly straight like this. Ujjayi breathing is one of the most important breaths that I've learned in yoga. And it's basically taking a full inhalation, and at the top of the inhalation, you're going to keep your breath for a second before you let it go out, very thin. And when I say thin, I mean you're going to close your trachea and let it out with this sound. And I'm going to show you what that sounds like. But of course, the sound, you can make it as loud or quiet as you like. So watch my chest, because I'm going to blow this up as much as I can. Hold for a second and let the air go out very, very slowly, still keeping the volume in my chest for as long as I can. Now, of course, you don't need to hold the throat. Try to do it without holding the throat, and just by really closing your trachea and let the air go very softly. If you notice children, when they concentrate, they do this automatically. We were all born with that instinct. We just haven't practiced it, and now we're going to do it consciously. So we're going to inhale full lungs. make the exhalation for as long as you can. Especially the later part in the exhalation, really engage your muscles. Your transversal muscle here, which makes your six-pack. From here on, keep pushing from the navel to the pubic bone. The last breath has to come out here and really engage your muscles. Now, at any time, if you feel like panicking or you don't like this, just go back to your own breathing. Breathe on your own for a while and then try it again. Now we're going to do it again on your own. Try to do 3 breaths. Ujjayi breathing. It is wonderful for your nervous system. It totally calms you down. So I use this a lot when I can't make a decision or when I'm in a hurry, when life goes too fast, or when I have to do public speaking. I use it all the time because it's so beneficial. So again, keep trying to do Ujjayi breathing for 3 breaths, and you can make as much noise as you like. You're just practicing anyway. And at the end, if you don't feel the need to just take another inhalation right away, then you know you're doing it correctly. If there's no more panic going on, you can exhale for as long as you like without having that need of an instant inhalation again, then you know it's working. This is Ujjayi breathing. Let's try it one more time. And on your next inhalation, think about the sides of the chest. Open every single intercostal muscle. Bring the breath to the side and to the front. You remember, your lungs go all the way up to the collarbone. And you're nicely supported in your back, so your lungs should fill all the way up to here. And our last breath, we're going to concentrate on our back and try to separate all the muscles in your back between the ribs. That was showing you my last breath of how I pushed that last breath out from right deep inside of my belly. That's Ujjayi breathing. I found this to be a really, really great tool for my life. And I love practicing this because it is so useful. Now we're going to take your right leg, bend it. You're going to roll over and push yourself up. We're going to go into a twist. For that, we're going to need just the bolster right here. So what we're doing is we're lining our feet up. You want to have your thighs lined up with the vertical lines in the sticky mat. And your left and right leg are just beside you with the knees close together. You're taking the bolster and you're pushing it against the hip, right here, as close as possible. We're going to twist. Okay, so inhale the right arm, take a deep inhalation, and now twist from the core right here. Place that right hand to the right side of the bolster, left side to the left side of the bolster, and on the exhalation, you're going to fold down over the bolster with as long a back as you possibly can. Then place your arms next to it, and you're going to bring all of your breathing and attention into this side. This is what's stretching right now. This is what you're feeling right now. And just bring softness with every exhalation into this tightness right here. You can massage it, you can feel it, and try to make this soft. And the twist is happening from deep inside the navel region. So we're just going to stay for 3 breaths and really inhale deeply. So you're massaging the organs as well. You can use your Ujjayi breath again if you like, or just have a long exhalation, whatever you would like. I want you to notice this side right here. See if you can see me raising it. It's probably an 1/8 of an inch, but it does raise on the inhalation. And that's what I try to make you aware of, this part right here. And now we're going to switch to the other side. Rolling my bolster back, bringing my feet to the left side, lining up my thighs again with the lines in the sticky mat, and bring my bolster to my left hip. Going to inhale. My left arm this time is inhaling, so I'm stretching up. With the inhalation, now with the exhalation, I twist from the center, from the core, while I'm placing my hands left and right of the bolster, and lie down. Let gravity help you with this twist. This is a gravity-fed twist. These are my favorites. You should feel it here, in the hip and waist area, right there. If this is not comfortable and you really feel something in your lower back, one tiny adjustment is you can raise your hip just a little bit and lie it back down. Gives you a little bit more space right on the other side in your lower back. Again, try to focus on this area by your breathing, and inhale, raising this, and exhaling, bringing softness right here. You're actually twisting a little bit more on every exhalation. You can stay between 3 and 5 breaths, or whatever feels good for you. Last inhalation, make this one count. And now I would like to show you Vitparita Karani, and we have to go to the wall for that. We're going to need a bolster on the wall, placed about 6 to 10 inches away, and I like to get another blanket for softness. There are 2 ways to get into this pose. I'm going to show you both of them. One of them is just by doing a somersault, but we probably haven't done somersaults in a while, so this will be one way. And you're just in perfect position. We're just going to adjust the bolster. And then the other one is by standing up. And you want to have your hip right on the wall. And from here, we're going to slide down this wall and sit at the end of the bolster. It's very important that you're sitting on the end and not in the middle, because you want to make sure that the shoulder is going to come down to the blanket about here, otherwise you're going to run out of room. What we're doing is we're raising this left arm up, and the left leg is following. So it's going up the wall, and then the right one is joining the left. You're going to use your hand here to push and get into this position. And from here, you can lift your hip and roll that bolster right exactly in the spot that is the most comfortable. You want to have your weight on the bolster and the tailbone just dropping over the edge. And that would be the correct way. So adjust your shoulders. Make sure that this is very comfortable. It has to be extremely comfortable. If anything holds on, it would not be the pose. The pose only works if you're completely relaxed. The arms are coming up. The important thing here is the elbows need to be on the ground. If your elbows are lifting up here because of tight shoulders, you just bring the elbows next to your side until they are down. And maybe you have to keep your arms straight for today. That's fine too. Just make sure that you're completely comfortable. Now, I just want to remind you that we're going to stay here for 5 minutes because that's when the pose actually takes its effect. And we have our feet relaxed, our legs are completely straight. If that's not comfortable for you, you can bring them down. You can actually keep them here and stay. Or the other version is just to let them fall open for as far as they want to go for today, until they're comfortable. That would, of course, engage your adductors, so make sure they are not too stretched. This is not a working pose, this is a relaxing pose. I'm gonna keep my legs straight up. And you know, it's wonderful for your legs, especially if you've been standing all day long, or if you've been walking a lot and you don't have time for a nap. This will replace the nap. If you can do this for 20 minutes, it's like taking a nap for at least an hour. The relaxation is that valuable. And gravity, of course, is reversed here, so it's very good for varicose veins as well. So you have to be comfortable. Make sure that you're totally comfortable, because we're just going to breathe here. We're going to stay here, close our eyes, and enjoy this feeling. If you happen to have high blood pressure, you don't want to do this. And also, if you're menstruating, you don't want to do this either. No inversions. This inversion is especially good because the hip is higher than the heart. That's when inversions really take the most effect. And I'm just going to close my eyes. I'm going to enjoy this and stay for a few more minutes. You can use your Ujjayi breathing if you like, or just take your own breathing, whatever you prefer. And with your next exhalation, you're going to slide these feet down the wall. And you're going to wiggle yourself off the bolster, just with raising the shoulders, wiggling yourself off. Grab your knees. And again, people with knee pain, please grab them underneath. Give yourself a hug. This is just a short counter pose. And we're going to get ready for Shavasana. Move on the exhalation, roll over, push yourself back up. And without too much commotion, we're just going to make this bed by unfolding the blanket, making a pillow, making it nice and soft. If it's cold, you can cover up. If it's warm, just stay. And I like to use my bolster, and I like to show you a little variety here. It's nice to have a bolster underneath your knees for Shavasana. Lie back. And we're going to go through the same variation. First, fold your knees and lift up the hip. Bring the sacrum towards your feet. Raise your right leg, stretch it, let it fall over the bolster. The foot is flopping to the right side. Same thing on the left. Foot is going to the left. Raise your head. Stretch out the cervical spine. Put it back down. Folding the shoulder blades. Lifting that shoulder, bringing that elbow to the navel. Same thing on the left side. Lifting the shoulder. Drawing that elbow towards the navel, bringing the elbows down. Palms facing up. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and collect all that was negative today. Let it shoot out with the exhalation. Everything that happened that was positive, let that stay with you. We just want to clean house a bit, especially before we go to bed. And we're going to completely relax. Relax every fold in your face. Make really soft eyes. Let them relax. They probably worked really hard today. Let them float. Let your face be very soft. Go to the mouth, separate your teeth. Let the tongue rest between the bottom teeth. The lips are slightly touching. The corner of your mouth is slightly curled up. Scan down that throat, and we're going to open the trachea. Remember, in Ujjayi we were closing it. This time we're opening it wide, consciously, letting the maximum amount of oxygen into your lungs, and let your blood be oxygenated. You know, every cell in your body needs oxygen. Scan down your shoulders. They're relaxed. Shoulder blades are tucked in. Softness behind the elbows, wrists. Fingers are slightly curled up. Come back to the heart region. Scan down your stomach and your tummy. Make sure nothing is holding on. Through your hips, upper thighs, softness behind the knees. And your calves are soft, so are the ankles, all the way to the toes. Then come back to the heart region and stay there, because that's where we want to sink into this deep level of consciousness. We are completely supported by our bolster and the blankets. We're very safe. We're just going to stay here for 10 minutes. And we're not going to think about anything. So as soon as your mind presents you with a thought, you're going to say, thank you, not now. I'll deal with you later. And go back into Shavasana. It's actually called the dead man's pose because we're not supposed to move one bone, nothing. The only thing that we're raising and lowering is our chest, because the diaphragm is dictating that. So we're taking on our own breath. And in case something happened today that was really disturbing and you just can't get rid of it and your mind keeps bothering you, just go back to the breath. Think inhalation, exhalation. The breath is the only one that can control the mind. Just think about an ocean with the waves crashing on shore and retrieving, and stay there. Don't let your mind interfere. That's what yoga is all about. It's bringing your mind into silence. With your next exhalation, start wiggling your fingers and your toes. We're coming out of Shavasana just as slowly as we went into. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms, wiggle around a bit, then curl over to the right side into a fetal position. Keep your eyes closed. Taking a couple of breaths, and when you're ready, start opening your eyes very slowly, just cracking one open at a time. Letting that light adjust very gradually. And when you're ready, on an exhalation, start using your arms and hands to push yourself back up into a seated position. The head always comes up last. Thank you.